and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari orders immediate voluntary evacuation of those willing to return home as 640 Nigerians indicate readiness to leave South Africa. Inspector General of Police cautions Islamic movements in Nigeria against planned procession, insists group remains prescribed for terrorism acts. Election Petitions Tribunal pulls off surprise verdicts against sitting National Assembly lawmakers. Chief Whip Ojus Okalo prominent on the list of those whose elections were nullified. And UK Parliament to suspend sittings ahead of snap elections. Justice Speaker John Bercow announces resignation.
Business news tonight. Oil prices jump more than 2% as Saudi Arabia signals continued support for output cuts by OPEC and other producers.
And on sports news tonight, Rafael Nadal claims epic 5-set win over Daniil Medvedev to win his 19th Grand Slam title at the U.S. Open.
Hello, and from the nation's capital, Governor Godwin Obaseki signs first set of bills passed by Edo State 7th Assembly into law. Establishes Edo College of Agriculture, splits college into 3 campuses.
The process of airlifting Nigerians who want to leave South Africa voluntarily will begin on Wednesday, September the 11th. Now, that's because the president has ordered the immediate voluntary evacuation of the country's citizens who are willing to return home from South Africa following attacks on foreigners and other foreign business owners. The president also gave the assurance that the federal government is prepared to collaborate with the South African government to find a solution to the involvement of a few Nigerians in criminal activities in South Africa. He further instructed the Foreign Affairs Minister to continue to engage with appropriate authorities on concrete measures the South African government is expected to take. Now, the decision is one of the key issues arising as the president received the report of his special envoy to South Africa, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai. In the wake of the xenophobic attacks by South Africans against foreigners, including Nigerians, the president had sent Ambassador Rufai to convey a special message to his South African counterpart, President Cyril Ramaphosa. The issues raised in President Buhari's message included his deep concern about intermittent violence against Nigerians and their property, as well as their business interests in South Africa. He also expressed worry that the recurring issue of xenophobia could negatively affect the image and the standing of South Africa as one of the leading countries on the continent. The president also stressed the need for the South African government to take visible steps to ensure that the violence against citizens of brotherly African countries stops. Meanwhile, 640 Nigerians have voluntarily registered to return home from South Africa, and 2 planes are expected to bring them home in a couple of days. Now, this according to the chairman of the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa, who disclosed this to journalists after a closed-door meeting with the Senate Committee on Diaspora at the National Assembly. Mrs. Dabiri-Erewa adds that there are no plans to expel the South African High Commissioner from Nigeria, and that the federal government will continue to demand compensation for Nigerians who have been attacked.
They're all going to get free emergency travel certificates. That's part of why there's a delay. So those that their business and passports have expired will be getting emergency traveling certificates. And then when they come back, well, they went on their own, they're coming voluntarily. And they all belong to states and all that. On the part of government, we have the JIP program that will encourage them to enroll with, small-scale entrepreneurial programs that will encourage them to enroll with the back of the industry, with the social investment program. So there are things that they can do. So we will make sure we have their details and work on that, but we'll still demand that South Africa needs to pay compensation for Nigerians in South Africa whose businesses have been destroyed. We know that 8 policemen have been charged to court for their involvement in killings of Nigerians in South Africa, and I think 4 more have been recently arrested. We are demanding that these investigations must end so that we can know exactly what is happening. Don't forget that also the woman that was killed that went for a conference, Ms. Elizabeth Chukwu, was still waiting for the results of the investigation. They've promised us they will get us the results, and we're waiting for the results. And also there must be consequences for actions. If policemen or your people go out killing people and nothing happens to them, then it will continue to happen. So South Africa should continue to show the political will to talk to their people to put a stop to it.
And staying with these attacks, Nigerians are among those counting their losses after violence erupted once more in some parts of Johannesburg. A failed meeting between the former Nkatha Freedom Party leader, Prince Mangosuthu Mbulezi, and hostile dwellers saw marching through the streets and vandalizing and looting businesses. Channels Television South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Dibia visited the Central Business District as well as some of the areas affected in last night's violence.
The attacker's mark says Zulu was here. Just when everyone thought the drums of war were going silent, Sunday, the 8th of September, happened.
It was bad yesterday, since Friday. So we are not sure what's happening, but we hope the police can get it under control. It's not good for business and it's not good for our lives. Our lives is in danger.
It's cautiously back to normal in some places previously affected, but here in the Malvern area of Johannesburg, which has been a hotspot since the most recent flare-up of xenophobic attacks, Sunday night was bad. Wale Harmony is a food vendor, and he is a victim.
The situation is very bad. You can see the whole shop everywhere. They have already burned it in their loot.
Francis Amungwe, a Cameroonian, escaped an ambush, but his boutique is now a shell of itself.
I was coming out, there was the police van parked right here. But I think they finished breaking the shop and they were looting, carrying things and running. The police did not do a thing. My source of livelihood is ended. How am I going to feed my family? If they could compensate us for this damage, that's the first thing before looking into the problem. I do not condone crime. I'm not doing crimes. I don't buy stolen things. I don't do anything behind the line. So I'm not going to support. Even somebody who's doing a crime, if the law has to apprehend the person, let the law punish the person. But the people should not take the law into their hand and attack innocent people.
We met up with Gauteng Police Commissioner, whom we asked if the police is struggling to keep the peace.
No, we are not struggling. You see, when these incidents are shown on TV, and they will say that, for example, the city of Johannesburg there is mayhem in the CBD of Johannesburg. But when you travel around Johannesburg, you'll find that no, normal life is continuing, people are moving around. It will only be small part of Johannesburg.
While the government is assuring the nation and those who live in it that calm will be restored soon, it is still tense and uncertain, mostly in some parts. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
Away from the attacks in South Africa. Now, despite the official ban on their operations in Nigeria, the Islamic movement in Nigeria says it will hold its usual Ashura commemoration tomorrow. That's Tuesday, September the 10th. But it's alleging that the government is planning to kill innocent security personnel, journalists and some members of the public, and then later put the blame on the members of the IMN. The group is also announcing that the event will be peaceful and solemn, and it will be a mourning procession that will not harm anybody.
The Islamic movement in Nigeria has uncovered a plan by the Nigerian police to attack its yearly Ashura peaceful procession all over the major cities in the country, including Abuja, that is taking place tomorrow. There are, in fact, disturbing reports we got from Bauchi, Kaduna, Sokoto, and Abuja that the Nigerian police is gearing up to brutally attack the peaceful mourners. We, however, wish to appeal to the public to remain calm because our Ashura procession is a peaceful one. It is a procession to mourn the massacre of the Prophet's grandson, Imam Husseini, in Karbala.
Meanwhile, the police is insisting that a procession by the proscribed members of the IMN is an attempt to disrupt public peace, order and security in the country. The Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, in a statement through the force spokesperson, Frank Mba, has directed the commissioners of police across the nation and the Federal Capital Territory to put in place concrete measures to avert any planned procession and disruption of public peace anywhere in the country. The police chief says, quote, "The force notes that in line with the Terrorism Prevention Prescription Order, Notice 2019 of the 26th of July 2019, the activities of the Islamic movement in Nigeria have been prescribed. Consequently, all gatherings or processions by the group remain illegal and will be treated as a gathering in the advancement of terrorism," end of quote. The IGP is also asking parents and guardians to prevail on their children and wards not to be persuaded into embarking on illegal and ill-motivated activities by anyone or any group of persons under any guise. Now let's look at some security matters which are not IMN related, but the Department of State Services, that's the DSS, is alerting Nigerians on plans by some groups and individuals to undermine national security, peace and the unity of the country. In a statement by the spokesperson of the DSS, Peter Afunaya, it says, quote, "Those elements are determined to exploit political differences and other occurrences within and outside the country to destabilize the nation. They also initiate narratives to deepen their subversive objectives so as to achieve preferred illegal outcomes," end of quote. According to Mr. Afunaya, who did not mention any name or any group, the aim is to set the country on fire as well as inflame passions across ethnic and religious divides with expected violent consequences. While condemning the unpatriotic and misguided activities of the so-called antisocial elements, the service equally warns them to desist forthwith from their unholy acts as the full weight of the law will be brought against them. And while the nation is awaiting the verdict of the Presidential Election Tribunal, the National Assembly Petitions Tribunal have been busy throughout the country. Some elected lawmakers are retaining their seats, while some of them have lost their seats. Prominent on the list of those who may have to fight to retain their seats in the Assembly is the Senate Chief Whip, Ojuzo Kalu, as he has been removed as Senator representing Abia North. Similar judgments were reported in other parts of the country as well.
The never-ending drama associated with politics. It's a day where tribunals are making headlines. And none bigger than the news of the sacking of the Chief Whip of the Senate, Ojuzo Kalu, who contested on the platform of the All Progressive Congress, APC, in Abia State, with the tribunal ordering a supplementary election within 90 days. The excitement continues in Ebonyi State, where the court sacked the PDP candidate, Lazarus Ogbe, declaring Chinedu Oga of the APC winner and legitimate representative of the constituency under contention.
When I watched the countenance of the judge at every sitting, I knew we were going to lose. Elections do not take place elsewhere than at polling units. It forms the pyramids upon which the election process is built. And that is exactly what the tribunal has done, and has recomputed the results and found out that it is the petitioner who won the election and not the first respondent.
In Enugu State, the petition by the candidates of the APC challenging the results for the West Senatorial District seat won by former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu was dismissed, while the victory of former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha is upheld, with all opposing petitions squashed. In Anambra State, the tribunal upheld the victory of Senators Uche Ekwenife and Ifeanyi Uba as senators representing Anambra Central and South Senatorial districts respectively. Moving to Edo State, the tribunal sitting dismissed the petition filed by the APC candidate challenging the victory of PDP's Osage Isei Dehan. In Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, the court is filled with lawyers armed with defenses in the case of the Ogun West Senatorial District seat. Here, the tribunal affirmed the victory of Senator Tolu Odebiyi of the APC, basing the decision on lack of substantial proof on the part of the petitioner from the PDP. In another case, victory was also affirmed for a member of the APC, Jimoh Jugbele. Again, the petitioner's case was thrown out for the same reason. However, the election that gave Kolakwa Osunsanya of the APC victory was declared inconclusive, with a rerun ordered within 90 days. He rejects the tribunal's ruling, saying emphatically that it will seek redress in the Court of Appeal. Aggrieved candidates challenging outcomes, winners defending mandates. A jittery situation all around. At the end of all cases addressed and pending, the most important thing should be for the democratic process to wax stronger. Orolu Ashonibare, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, United Nations calls for adequate gender analysis in the education sector, planning to control cases out of school children in Nigeria. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.